if we roll back the clock a couple of years, what were people thinking about in terms of ERM in financial services? They would say, okay, we have some core pillars of different types of risk that are being focused on, and then there's some way of integrating that. So a standard type of temple diagram where people would say, what is ERM? ERM is the roof or the pediment on top, which is the integration of what you're trying to do. And it's also the foundation, the infrastructure that supports you approaching risk in your institution in a coherent and consistent fashion. No surprises so far, but let's think about what has happened since then. Even before, but even more now, you build anything, including Greek temples, and you're exposed to zillions of building codes. And this was the case before Basel I, Basel II, all sorts of national regulation and so on. What has happened in the past little while is these building codes have proliferated. And okay, that's just an illustrative list. I'm not trying to be exhaustive in any way over here. There's both regulation as well as practices like CCAR out there. But what has, I think, happened is the building codes are so demanding that the engineers, architects, designers, and so on spend now basically all of their time adhering to the building codes, and there's at the moment very little left for creativity. That in itself, I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing. Responding to regulation when there is regulation is absolutely crucial. And the right type of prudential regulation when there seems to have been a failure of the system to act in the best way possible without it is also very necessary. But to be somewhat provocative, in the discussions I have with financial services broadly, I currently sense an absence of leadership on genuine enterprise-level risk management in a thoughtful manner. People are so busy responding to the very urgent regulatory realities that the question of, but what do you think and what's going to be important, what's going to happen in 3, 5, 7 years is sort of falling by the wayside. And to be blunt with you, deliberately blunt, I think that's actually particularly worrisome in Canada, because in Canada, on the one hand, our financial system is and has been healthier than in some other areas. On the other hand, our economy is a lot more concentrated, and it's this weird mixture of a big bet on commodities, where big bet on commodities is a big bet on Asia, primarily in terms of demand. And second, a bet on on financial services, our housing markets, which translates into U.S. economic health and the health of our export system here in central Canada. All of which to say, we are a more concentrated bet here than in other countries which have had more trouble in the past. And therefore, I think we're doing quite likely a very good job of navigating the current round of shoals and getting through that. But to be blunt with you guys, I think we're not being sufficiently thoughtful about where do we navigate from here in the longer term, and what are the fogs and mists and possible sort of rocks that we could be foundering on later.